Welcome to Global Voice Radio with Nikki Ruffin-Smith, host of Naya's Project. Join Nikki as she talks about education, family fun, and building a business. Join Nikki Ruffin-Smith, host of Naya's Project, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Who am I? My name is Naya. I was born on a Friday. I was born Friday the 13th. Mom says I am special and they are blessed. My mommy went to her doctor one day to see how I was doing. But then, the doctor told Mommy it was time for me to come into the world. My mommy and daddy knew I had a purpose, so they named me Naya, which means purpose. Only 3 amazing letters. N-Y-A. That's me. This is my mommy. The first one plus my daddy. The second one equals me. Number 3. I have a beautiful sister who is old. She is 25. I have a brother who is old too. He's 24. My sister plus my brother plus me equals 3. Guess what? I have a nephew. I love him so much. He's older than me. He is not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. He's 6. I love numbers. Say them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can't wait to share my next story with you. Until then, keep reading this one. I have 2 dogs, 1 and 2. Their names are Star and Cupid. Sometimes Mommy and I share special moments away from my daddy, my sister, my brother, my doggies. We take pictures together all the time, just the 2 of us. 1 and 2. Then sometimes Mommy and Daddy have their special times together. Mommy says even then I'm always in their hearts. Mommy plus Daddy equals me. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Now it's your turn to write down all the numbers you've learned. I know you can do it. Keep going. Phew! You did it! You are amazing too!
In this video, I would like to provide a short overview of what STEM education is all about, some guiding principles during STEM implementation, the different STEM practices, the 3 approaches to integrated STEM, and some additional guidelines. Hopefully this will help us in our own journey in implementing our STEM program this year. The information from this video is from this awesome book called STEM Lesson Essentials, Integrating Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, written by Joanne Vasquez, Carrie Snyder, and Michael Comer. Whenever I refer to a book, this is the book I will be referring to. First, let's start with the definition of STEM. There are many different interpretations out there of what STEM is and how educators use it in different contexts. But we will be using the definition of STEM from the book, which is interdisciplinary approach to learning which removes the traditional barriers separating the 4 disciplines of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and integrates them into real-world, rigorous, and relevant learning experiences for students. Our program will try to not only integrate science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but also social studies, language arts, art, music, and other disciplines. The first goal is the obvious one, the one that many educators use to justify the implementation of STEM, which is to help students function and thrive in our highly technological world, and help the country remain competitive in the global economy. According to the National Resource Council's report called Successful K-12 STEM Education, STEM education develops understandings and capabilities that are required of personal, decision-making, participation in civic and cultural affairs, and economic productivity. The second goal is not as recognized as the first, but I believe is extremely important, which is the connection between disciplines. The application of this idea creates opportunities for students to gain deepened conceptual understandings and develop valuable skills that can be applied in different contexts. The integration of disciplines shows students that finding solutions to engaging and meaningful problems require the use of knowledge and skills from different disciplines, all working together, interconnected and intertwined. Think of disciplines as gears, all working together for one common purpose. The book provides some STEM guiding principles. First, focus on integration. Like I talked about previously, we need to help students see the connection and close relationship of concepts, helping them connect concepts that may seem disjointed to them. Second, establish relevance. This idea is emphasized throughout the whole book. It is our job as educators to explain why the knowledge and skills learned is useful, why they should care. It is easy to explain relevance when students are given real-world problems, current event situations, global issues, or any appealing event. Third, emphasize 21st century skills. The workplace our students will enter requires a workforce that can access information, solve problems creatively, and collaborate with others. Next, challenge your students. You want to give students challenges that are not so difficult that students give up, nor so easy that students find the work boring. Finally, mix it up. Provide learning opportunities that use problem-based approaches and project-based approaches. In problem-based approaches, students are given a problem to design creative solutions for. In project-based approaches, students are given choice in how to produce products or develop solutions that demonstrate their learning, as well as having a voice in the way they are evaluated. Now for the STEM practices. Here are the science and engineering practices from the next generation science standards. Asking questions and defining problems. Developing and using models. Planning and carrying out investigations. Analyzing and interpreting data. Using mathematics and computational thinking. Constructing explanations and designing solutions. Engaging in argument from evidence. And finally, obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. Here are the mathematical practices that comes from the Common Core state standards. Make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. Reason abstractly and quantitatively. Construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. Model with mathematics. Use appropriate tools strategically. Attend to precision. Look for and make use of structure. And finally, look for and express regularity and repeated reasoning. Finally, the book also provides 4 technology practices. But before I list these practices, I want to talk about the definition of technology. The term is usually used for anything that needs to be plugged in, especially a device that is computerized. However, the National Resource Council states that technology is any modification of the natural world made to fulfill human needs or desires. So a hammer or a pencil would be examples of technology. The book categorizes technologies into 6 groups that help students understand the world they live in. They are transportation, construction, electricity, medicine, food and water, and communication. So here are the technology practices. Practice 1. Become aware of the web of technological systems on which society depends. For this practice, help students to think more broadly about technology and emphasize how technologies created by humans are here to serve our needs and desires. Practice 2. Learn how to use new technologies as they become available. Help students learn how to use new technology, how to choose appropriate ones for a situation, and observe how others use technology. Practice 3. Recognize the role that technology plays in the advancement of science and engineering. Practice 4. Make informed decisions about technology given its relationship to society and the environment. When applying these practices, it is important as educators to model the use of words, technology, science, math, and engineering. Here are some examples. What have you learned about the technology of gears? How can we apply the science of motion for this roller coaster project? What is the appropriate math skill that we need to solve this problem? What will you engineer to help transport the items across the river? Moving on, now we will talk about the 3 approaches to integrated STEM: multidisciplinary integration or thematic integration, interdisciplinary integration, and transdisciplinary integration. Multidisciplinary integration or thematic integration is an approach that connects the individual disciplines by organizing the curriculum around a common theme, such as oceans, ecosystems, flight, or even pirates. It provides a coherent learning experience and shows students that you can learn about a topic in different ways, through different disciplinary perspectives. It is recommended that you create a theme based on each discipline's standards, as well as using your students' interests. The negative to this approach is that the connection is only made through the theme and nothing else. No learning goals are combined to create opportunities for deeper understandings. Next, we have interdisciplinary integration. Teachers organize the curriculum around common learning across disciplines. The learning goals from 2 disciplines are fused to form a single key concept or skill. The book provides an interdisciplinary unit example of a science teacher who wants his students to have a better concept of scale, the range of sizes of planets, and the distance between them in space. The math teacher offers to help by having students scale a model of the solar system by using the ratios they are learning in class. The learning goal of science focuses on the similarities and differences between planets, and the learning goal of math focuses on the ability to apply the use of ratios. Combining these learning goals forms a single key skill, which is to scale a model that helps students grasp the size of planets and the distance between planets in the solar system. This integration allows students to go past just learning about the surface features of planets, but instead get a deeper level of understanding of the solar system through size and distance scale. It is important to note that this approach is not entirely distinct from multidisciplinary integration. These 3 approaches differ in the degree of integration. So in interdisciplinary units, the disciplines are identifiable but become less significant than in multidisciplinary approach. Last, we have the transdisciplinary integration, where students embark on real-world problems or projects where students apply knowledge and skills from 2 or more disciplines. These problems and projects also need to be relevant to the students. Teachers should organize curriculum around student questions and concerns, listen to their ideas, and also observe their interests so that students can take ownership of their learning. The transdisciplinary version of the example unit we looked at previously consists of skills and concepts from multiple disciplines. The essential question, or the driving question for the unit, was the following: how would a meteorologist forecast the weather on planet X? This question drives the unit, drives inquiry, and requires the learning objectives to be met for the question to be answered. In science, students would give a weather report from a different planet. They would need to learn how people predict the weather and imagine what it would be like to live on another planet. In art, students would build studio sets for the weather forecasts. In English, students would write out the script for the forecasts, and in math, they would find out how much time it would take for radio transmission to reach them from Earth. All of these learning opportunities from different disciplines help answer the real-world project-based essential question. It is important to note that you don't have to integrate all STEM disciplines in every unit. Project-based learning, or PBL, is very important to transdisciplinary learning. According to the book, project-based learning plus problem-solving equals transdisciplinary learning. There are 3 components of PBL: essential question that drives the whole unit, standard-based STEM learning objectives that give direction to the unit, and students' previous experiences. Here are some other characteristics of STEM PBL. Students are the center of the learning process. It is important to have students work on decision-making skills and apply their own interests and prior experiences when creating their culminating product or solution. Teachers are more facilitators or coaches who help manage time and logistics. Next, the project is central to the curriculum rather than secondary. They should be broken down into manageable pieces or small tasks and conclude with a product or performance. These projects should involve ongoing and multiple types of assessment with models and rubrics that students can use as a guiding resource. And of course, there should be opportunities for reflection, feedback, and improvements on their creations. For more information on PBL, you will find links to resources in the description below. Now, how do we get started in planning a STEM lesson or unit? Here are the strategies the book provides for implementation. Identify the content standards. Identify big ideas and key concepts. Identify the essential questions or driving question. Establish what the students will know and be able to do as a result of the unit or lesson. Create multiple and ongoing assessment opportunities throughout the learning experiences. Design interdisciplinary learning activities. You will need to decide which approach to use, multi, inter, or trans, that will be most effective for the learning goals. Thanks for watching the overview. I recommend reading the STEM Lesson Essentials book for more detailed information. For links to this presentation, to STEM practices, PBL resources, and more, look in the description below.
Today we are doing a STEM activity. STEM is an acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Education. For this activity we will need blocks, jumbo craft sticks, and plastic cups. We used the 3-ounce size. STEM activities are great to do with your kids because the skills and knowledge in each discipline are essential for student success, but also because these fields are deeply intertwined in the real world and in how students learn most effectively. We had 3 building challenges for our activity. Challenge number 1. Build a tower with only 1 block at the base. Challenge number 2. Build the tallest tower you can with a square-shaped base. Challenge number 3. Build the strongest tower you can. We tested the strength of our towers by seeing whose tower could hold the most books. Building with blocks is great even at a young age. It develops motor skills and hand-eye coordination, spatial skills, the capacity for creative and divergent thinking, social skills, and language skills. If you enjoyed our video, be sure to like it. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. Have fun building your own towers. Thanks!
Hi, it's Naya! You're just in time for today's project. Are you ready? Today, I'm going to explore technology. I remember the last time I shared my super math skills. 1 + 1 = 2. You are so smart, just like me. I'll show you what I can do now. Are you ready? I know a new word. It is technology. Technology is using machines, big and small, to do something. Most people use technology every single day. Mommy and Daddy said if I'm sweet, I can use our laptop to FaceTime my god sister. Her name is Zion. Zion is a big girl. She is smart like me. She uses technology. She likes talking on her cell phone, on her tablet, on her laptop, and on her computer. These things are technology. Do you remember what technology is? What is technology? Circle those things that are technology. Good job! Friends, it's time for me to go. I'll see you soon to talk about my next project. See you soon!
Okay, thank you all for joining us this evening this evening, no matter where you are. I have my wonderful sister on the phone, sister as in sister entrepreneurial sister. Sister Felicia Meadows is on the line right now, and she is going to introduce herself and let us know all about her and all the wonderful things she is doing with her project. Miss Felicia, please introduce yourself.
Oh, well, thank you, Nikki. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here just to share a little bit about myself and a little bit about what I do. So just a little bit of background knowledge about me. I am a school counselor, and I'm also a youth development workshop facilitator. And over the past few years, I've kind of changed my title from the youth development work facilitator from coach, because when you say the word coach, especially when you're dealing with young people don't know what that means. And what I do is not really around coaching. It's around helping young people identify their passion and purpose so they can live the life of their dreams. So I have named myself the Teen Dream Navigator because I help young people find their dreams and navigate their path to live their best lives.
Oh, that's wonderful. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I have been in education. It's funny, I tell people this, I'm like, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but I've been in education for maybe 22 years this year. It'll be 22 years. And so what I've noticed before, I've worked in education, I've worked at every level. I've worked elementary, middle, and high school. And I've been in middle school for the last 16 years as a school counselor. So what I noticed being in education and being a school counselor is a couple of years ago, one of my old colleagues had mentioned to me, we were having a conversation about young people, and she was saying how we don't think as adults that young people dream anymore. So that really stuck with me. That really, really stuck with me. And then the more I thought about it and the more I, started just talking to young people and realizing where's the dream? Because, of course, we were coming up. The question is always, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right.
And, you had this aspiration, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor. There was some dream. Everybody had some kind of dream. They wanted to do something. And so I've noticed that young people don't dream anymore. They really don't. When you ask them, a lot of them, what they want to be when they get older, what they're passionate about, what they love to do, they can't give you an answer. They really cannot, most of them cannot answer that question. So the more I thought about it, the more it made me realize this is something that's untapped that we need to tap into with our young people. So in 2013, I decided to start my business, Tomorrow's Future, coaching and consulting. That's what I started with. So as I said before, Nikki, when you tell people coaching and consulting, that's really an adult kind of term, and a lot of people don't know what coaches do. So, the term coach has been thrown out. I try to use that term at all, but it gets thrown around a lot. So when you try to explain to people who are not familiar with coaching what coaching is, especially when you talk about young people, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So what I started doing in 2013 when I started Tomorrow's Future was I started with workshops. So I still do workshops, but my workshops are primarily around character education, goal setting. I do one on, bullying is a big thing. I kind of focus on the mean girl aspect, the girl piece to it. And my signature workshop that I started, that I love, because it really is around dreaming, is Dreams to Reality. And that helps young people identify their passion and their purpose to combine it into a career that they would possibly love to do. So, as you know, as an adult, it's funny, you hear adults joke all the time about how they still don't know what they want to do when they grow up. People every day are just like, adults, like, I hate my job. I don't want to do this. Not when I talk to kids, I'm like, do you hear your parents ever say, get up in the morning, oh, God, I hate my job. I hate my job. Don't you want to get up every day and love what you do? Yeah. So that's what I really push for them is love what you do every day. If you want to be a basket weaver and you love basket weaving, be the best basket weaver you can be. Just if that's your passion, make it a profit. Find a way to profit from it, but love what you do. Because too many of us are going through life miserable about what we do every day. And so, as someone who knew what I wanted to do as a teenager, knew what I wanted to do and turned it into a career, I know the feeling of loving what you do every day. And again, as I'm trying, do my workshop and I was trying to get into the coaching piece and, adults weren't understanding what was happening, I decided last year in 27 to change my business to Tomorrow's Future College and Career Readiness Services because that's more tangible for parents and to understand.
That's wonderful, Miss Felicia. There are two things I wanted to bring to the forefront after you mentioned about kids not knowing what they want to be, and also wanted to add. Let me do the second part of it. It's not really a question; it's an interjection. My daughter, I have a 26-year-old daughter, and I have we're going on 3-year-old daughter. That's a big gap. Okay. I know.
Yeah.
But my oldest baby, when she was in middle school, my baby, she was very, very, very smart. And being smart, people expected her to say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this, I want to be whatever. Well, my daughter used to say, I want to be a beautician. I want to do stuff, I want to do hair. Well, she had a counselor in the school to tell her, you're too smart to do that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I went to the school and I spoke with this lady about that. And of course, I know that wasn't her intent to do that. She wanted to lead her into doing something she felt that my daughter was very capable of doing. And yes, true enough, very capable of doing any and everything. But her passion was do hair and to do makeup. And that has stuck with her today. And she'll tell me now that it hasn't. But I see it because she'll when things are not going right on her job for her, she's not happy, which is all the time. She'll say, I should have done hair. I said, it's not too late. I should do makeup. It's not too late because you're beautiful. Yeah. All people call you all the time to do this, do that. So that is so important. Yeah. So important. And when my mother was growing up and that wasn't instilled in her to do what you were passionate about. It was to make money and, have a career. Now, my second piece was you brought up about kids not knowing which way, what they want to do. I don't think it's asked like it was asked or it wasn't a dinner table discussion. That is not something that's discussed like it was discussed when we were growing up. Yeah. I don't believe it is, and I may be wrong, but it's showing because you are so right. I have asked kids, I teach, and I've asked them too, what do you want to be? And they look at me like that's a foreign question.
Yes.
So it's not something that is talked about in the home. It's more like it's a given that, okay, my child could do whatever she wanted to, which is true. But it's something that you need to instill. You got to talk about it. So yes, ma'am. I don't mean to carry your conversation, but I just want you're hitting the nail on the head. I also see here about on your speaker sheet where you have bullying, the mean girls phenomenon.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I kind of want to piggyback on what you just said, Nikki, and then I'm going to go into the mean girls piece.
Okay.
So you are exactly correct. The interesting thing is I have 3 daughters. I have a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 26-year-old.
Oh,
and
right.
And so what I have said to them has always been, what do you love? Just tell me what you love doing. We're going to find a way to make it lucrative. We're going to find a way, whatever it is you love to do. So my oldest daughter, when she was in middle school, I knew she always had that compassion piece with her for children.
Oh.
So she was going to go to high school. I said, okay, so what do you want to do? Because she had an interest in nursing. She was like, I want to either do nursing or child care. I said, okay, all right, that's fine. So when she got ready to go to high school, I said, in high school, she was like, Mom, I'm still undecided, but I want to do one of the two. So our high schools, quite a few high schools, and I'm not going to say most, quite a few high schools in the country offer career completers or career academies or things like vocation. Well, they call it VOTEC when I was coming up, but it's not VOTEC anymore. It's career and technical education courses. So when she got to 9th grade, she said, Mommy, what I really want to do, I want to do child care. I said, okay, cool. So the school she was in, which was my alma mater too, high school, they offered a child development course where, when she graduated, she would have her certification in child care. So she did that. She did the certification, went through high school, completed the course. She has been working in child care ever since, and that's her passion. That's what she loves to do. So what I'm trying to do with her now is get her to a place where you've been doing daycare, this daycare thing, which doesn't pay a lot of money. You have enough experience and enough background, and you should get your licensure and open up your own daycare. So if that's what you love to do, you need to find a way to keep making it happen. Keep making it happen. With my 2 youngest, I said the same thing. It's like, what do you want to do? What do you love to do? My middle baby is very artsy. She and my youngest are in a school for theater arts, or creative arts school. She's real artsy. That's her thing. She likes theater. She wants to go to school for theater. I said, okay, well, I have to figure out a way to make that work. Little odd jobs and doing little plays is not going to pay the bills, so what are we going to do to make it work? My youngest baby, who went into theater because they were in school together, is like, Mom, that's not really my gig. She said, I want to do cybersecurity. And she's a math guru. So I said, okay, now let's look into programs that can get you some cybersecurity certification, or look at some summer camps that will help you get that experience before you go away to college. So I think it's very, very important to tap into what your kids love to do and find a way to help them do it. Unfortunately, that conversation was not had with me when I was younger. I remember I grew up, my mom's an educator. I grew up around educators. That's kind of like not all I knew, but I just knew I always loved kids. So for me, I was like, I'll play, try to be the teacher, play a teacher with the doll babies and all that kind of stuff. And then I got a little older. I was like, I just don't want to be a teacher. But I knew my love for children and my love for their mental well-being was what made me want to be a school counselor. And so that I knew in high school. Like, I fell in love with psychology. I know I love kids. How can I mirror the two? And that's what I did, and I love what I do. So it really is about, again, helping them understand their passion and their purpose. And even if it's a part-time gig, because a full-time gig has to pay the bills, find a way that you can at least tap into what you love. That's just, that's what I preach, where I come across. And so to transition into the Mean Girls piece, one of the workshops that I do, what I found is that although my workshops are not gender-specific, I do boys, I've done boys, I do girls, I've done combo, but it seemed that the bulk of the workshops I was doing, it was requests from girl-oriented organizations. So I noticed that with the girls, all of us have seen the movie Mean Girls, and it's funny because even this generation of girls have seen Mean Girls. So when you talk to them about it, you're like, you seen Mean Girls? They're like, yeah, and they think it's hilarious. And then when you break down to them how that's really bullying harassment, intimidation, they get a picture of what is really happening. And the conversations that I've been having with my colleagues and some of my friends over the last few years is we have now gone into society, has gone into the Bad Girls Club, Real Housewives, Love and Hip Hop scenario, where young ladies believe ladies acting badly is the norm. So trying to get them to understand that that's not normal behavior and what bullying behavior is and is not, so they can do some self-reflection. And once they do the self-reflection and they really get to understand, oh, okay, this isn't cool. It isn't cool. Because we know that, the media-wise and conversation-wise, bullying, quote-unquote, I say bullying, is a hot topic, but it's a whole lot deeper than just generic conversations and things that we see on TV. It's a mindset shift and a societal shift.
Oh, Miss Felicia, I'm going to have to bring you back on maybe 2 or 3 times because
I would love it.
I'm just loving where you're going, and it's so many things that I want to just piggyback off of. But talking about the bullying, I saw a movie earlier today, and I caught it halfway through. I'm gonna have to catch it again. It's called a girl. I think it's a girl named Grace.
Okay.
And I think that's the name of it. But anyway, the girls in this movie look like us, black girls, and
okay.
Oh God, it was so heart wrenching. My goodness. And as I was watching it, I was seeing a lot of me in that movie, and in both aspects, because I have experienced bullying, and I have also participated in bullying. The crowd to please somebody in it, and it hurts so bad to just see all the facets of the bullying. And then not only that, I saw a couple of videos on Facebook today where there was a young kid who was beaten severely. This little guy beaten, and nothing was done because the kid that was doing the beating was a football player. So it's just, and nothing really has changed in that aspect except that technology has taken a role. Kids are using technology now to do a lot of the bullying, but we've experienced the bullying too. And to see that you have a part to play in a positive light, I love that. I love that. What I do recommend, though, is that we do something about the media and the housewives and all of this, and them to take it in a different direction if possible. What are your thoughts on that?
So it's funny because I like the Bad Girls Club. Like us, we have millennials, and so they watch that. They grew up on that. I haven't seen a whole episode, but I had to watch it because I need to know what my kids are watching. When my children, I call my students my children too, what they're watching, because I need to be hip on what's happening with them. So, I'm watching these things unfold, and one of my guilty pleasures when it first came out was Real Housewives. I really liked it until it got raunchy. So when we start seeing the cattiness and pitting each other against each other and the backstabbing, that's when I stopped watching. I haven't watched it in years because of the direction it was taking. And one of my colleagues watches, they always call it like the trash TV, like that's someone's guilty pleasure. That's fine as an adult because we know better. But one of my colleagues who does watch the Love and Hip Hop series, she was saying how even that show has taken a turn where it's less of the cattiness, less of the fights, less of the bickering. It's more, let's sit down and talk about it. And I said, but I don't know if that's a shift in society, because they were realizing that this trash TV is harming our kids because that's what they watch. And that's a lot of them, that's their role model, or that's what they aspire to, because these are the people that we're looking up to because they're on TV. So until, we can have conversations all day long. It's appropriate, but what was inappropriate. But until there's a shift in what we, because not even just kids, adults are exposed to and exposing children to, until that changes collectively, it's not going to change. And I've had conversations, not just around the bullying piece, but just around negative, I won't say negative media, but negative conversations, even negative conversations versus positive conversations. People tend to gravitate towards negative. I don't know, that's probably a sociological thing, and that's not my background. Mine is psychology. But from a sociological standpoint, why is it that people gravitate towards negative energy versus positive energy? They love to see something negative. If there's a fight, people run to it not to help the person, but to see another person get hurt. What is that about? And how to even shift that, because I don't even know how to shift it, because I don't think that's a generational thing or something that's new. I think that is something that is just innate. I don't know how we got here, thinking that, negative publicity is better than positive, or negative energy or negative conversation draws more attention than positive, but we need to shift it, and I don't know how. I don't know how to shift that mindset and that way of being.
That's a great thesis. That's a great dissertation. It really is. You gave me a thought right there. And we gravitate towards that. I don't know. It has to be something in the brain that clicks us to that. But I will say that I think that's a part of culture too, because if you are around a lot of that, a lot of times people gravitate to what they know, and then name it. And then too, we have a lot of narcissistic people who have passion for our fellow man. So it could be a number of things, and I just challenge anybody, any listener out there, to explore that. So, but I'm gonna move on a little bit more, because I don't know, it's just like time just flew by.
Always. Yes. That's always how it goes, yes.
Yeah, you mentioned about the college readiness, and that is extraordinary. But I want to also talk about your books, the books. Tell us about the 2 books you have.
Okay, so actually on my speaker sheet I have 2 books, but the 3rd book that I have is actually for teens. That was my first teen book, but that wasn't included on my speaker sheet. I'm going to talk about the first 2, and then I'm going to get into my meat and potatoes. That's the one I love. So the first book that I was able to be a part of, which was an anthology, was Congratulations, You Just Lost Your Job. And when LaShawn Vernique, she did the compilation for us, there's several of us in the book, and when she came up with the title and told us the concept, I fell in love, because I have been an entrepreneur in spirit since I was a teenager, an entrepreneur in practice for the last couple of years, trying to get this thing right, trying to help our babies. And the book is really about entrepreneurship, about everyone's entrepreneurial journey, how we got to where we are, what made us decide to do what we do, and why we do what we do. And that book also gives great tips, great pointers. That came out, I think, Congratulations, was 2014. And that was one of my top selling books that people were scrambling to get. I was doing workshops on it, helping not young people, but actually adults understand the entrepreneurial journey. That love. So that was Congratulations. The second book, Fabulous New Life, was also another anthology with several women. We talk about everything from motherhood. Like I said, my thing is entrepreneurship, because I just that's been in my spirit since I was young. That's what my chapter is about, going from working my dream to trying to make my dream an entrepreneurial endeavor. But we have women in there who talk about infidelity, finances, self-esteem. It's really, that book is really for every walk of life, every woman. There's something in that book that everyone can relate to, from work to family to self-esteem to finances. It tells our own personal stories of how we've overcome or gotten through, or how we've shifted to make our lives a lot better. And both of those are I need to see if Congratulations is still available on Amazon, but Fabulous New Life is still available on Amazon for purchase. And so I'm getting to my last baby. This is my baby that I just birthed last year, the first book that I birthed for teens. And my last book is called From Dreams to Reality, 21 Tips for Teens. And it's really not a read, it is a workbook. And each tip gives the young people something that they can relate to, a quote to help them relate to it, and how they can apply it to their own lives. And so some of the tips not some of the tips, all the tips about, maybe 4 years ago, I was working with a coach, and she helped me kind of birth this idea, because she said, Felicia, you have a lot of information to give parents and the young people. Why don't you just do a day of 21 tips for teens? I said, okay, cool. I'm just putting out little tidbits, things that I see every day. And so I said, I need to turn my 21 tips into a book that can be applicable to young people that they can use. It's not a lot of reading. It's not pages and pages of something, then you apply it. It's real practical information. I have things in there from how to identify what your purpose is. Do you still dream? And what does your dream look like? How you can make the most out of your summer vacations by finding extracurricular activities. What can you do to be a lifelong learner? Character education. Look at the friends that you keep. What do your friends say about you? Every tip that you can think of as a teen, I've tried to capture in those 21 tips to give them food for thought. And the reason that I did that, going back to what I was saying earlier about kids not dreaming and having a navigation system, and with something that you said too earlier, Nikki, about parents not really having these conversations. As a school counselor, I'm spread so thin, very thin. In my building where I work now, I'm in the middle school again, 6th through 8th grade. We have over 800 students. My caseload is over 300. There is no way I can give individualized attention to all 300 of those babies. No way. They all have different needs. They all have different wants. They all have different aspirations. There's no way I can do that on an individual level. So I said, what can I do, even on a smaller scale, to help them, those babies that I can't reach, help them navigate everything that I can't help them do every day, because there's enough time in the day. And a lot of times, parents don't even know what questions to ask. And not saying a lot of parents are hands off, but when it comes to young people, it's like you're doing the best you can, trying to make sure they're fed and clothed every day, trying to figure out what they love and what they're passionate about, and if they did service learning, what kind of friends they're keeping, who they're hanging out with, and what they're thinking about. That's a lot. It's a lot. So when I did From Dreams to Reality, the 21 tips, I tried to really, as food for parents, because I have a piece in it, note to parents too, that you had the opportunity to live your dream. Don't try to live vicariously through your children. Let them dream their own dreams. Let them find their own path. And so that was my rationale for putting that book together. And really it was a compilation. It's a much larger workbook, but I condensed it because I was like, I really have to get this information out to the babies, because they're lost. A lot of them are lost. They don't have anyone to sit down and have conversations with, but you can always self-reflect. And self-reflection is key in life, no matter how old you are.
That is absolutely phenomenal, Miss Felicia. And it's so ironic that congratulations, you just lost your job. That was written because my next book was you just quit your job.
Mm. Yeah.
So, and that is just amazing. I love what you're doing. I really, really do. I got to have you. I am planning a round table, and this is what I wanted you really to hold on for, but I'm going to go ahead and say it live and let you hear it. I'm planning a round table, and I was going to do it next week, but I'm thinking I'm going to do it during Women's History Month, which is next month. And have a round table where I bring back some of the people I had on previously, and one would be definitely you, so that we can talk about some of these things and formulate plans and how we can just put one thing into action, how and help our kids, because they are the future. They are.
Yep.
And what do you do with that when you haven't done a thing to prepare these kids to be the leaders of our tomorrow. You can't word because you haven't done anything, and we have to do something. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I love what I do every day. I mean, young people are what I do. I love young people. And it's so funny when you hear people, when they ask you what you do for a living, and they're like, oh, God, you work with kids? Well, I'd rather work with kids than adults, to be honest, because kids are open and they're receptive. They listen, and they're still moldable and shapeable. And, you can shape them into something and help them and guide them and mold them. And adults we're set in our ways. We've been kids. We've been there, done that. But young people are very moldable, and they're very shapeable, and they're open and receptive to what you have to say because they don't have the experiences that we have. So that's why I just really love. That's what I love doing what I do.
And I hear it in your voice too, and that is what is amazing. I attended a seminar the other week, and one of the questions was, what would you tell? What would be something that you would leave to some of the teachers? And my thing, I don't know if I was too raw, what I said, if you are allowing kids to sleep in your class day after day, you need to go home because it's something wrong. You're either burned out or something, I don't know. And I was thinking back on my experience as a kid when I fell asleep every day and day in my class, and my teacher never asked me one time what was the problem. Never asked me. Never. Wow. And so it's one thing if you ask the kid and they say, I didn't get any sleep. That's one thing. But if you never ask, that means to me, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's what it meant to my little mind at that time. And still my mind is still thinking as that 15-year-old kid at that time. But
Nikki, not to cut you off, it's so interesting that you said that. Because my first in education, I was teaching. I volunteered for a year, then I taught. And I had this baby, and I still remember the baby, Diamond, my first grade baby. I knew her parents were crackheads. I taught in the hood, loved those kids, loved them. And her parents were crackheads. Oh. And Diamond, she could barely even write her little name. And she would come in, and she would just sleep. And I would try to wake her up, and I said, she can't learn nothing I got to teach her. Nothing. She has so much going on at home. This is the only place she comes to get refuge. And I don't know if that baby learned anything that year at all. Nikki, I don't even know. But I was like, I can't. What's she going to learn from me? What can she learn from me? She can't even focus on what's happening right now.
Oh,
she would be so tired. Yeah, it's 6. Think about it as a 6-year-old. But I really would get vested in what my babies had going on to find out, well, Johnny can't learn because Johnny didn't have breakfast, or Johnny's mommy had him out all night because she was doing whatever she was doing, and he wasn't going to do his homework. Or, it was so much. And that was another catalyst for me, too, want to be a school counselor. I said, because these babies can't learn because they have all these other things going on outside of the classroom, and we're trying to make them learn something. They're just trying to survive day to day.
Yes.
But you have to have that connection to the kids and find out what's going on with them in order to reach them, because then you can find the best ways to help them if you can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, that was a note right there, right? The last note of our conversation almost put me in tears, but that is true. Miss Felicia, please tell the listeners how they can find you.
Oh, definitely. I'm on Facebook, Felicia Meadows, Felicia Meadows, MEADOWS. You pull up my profile pic in parens. It has Step Up Your Life. That was my moniker for years, but Facebook made me take it down. So I had to put in parentheses on my page. On Twitter, at Felicia G. Meadows. Also LinkedIn, Felicia Meadows. And if anybody who's listening wants to connect with me via email or be part of my mailing list, they can get me at bit.ly /connect with Felicia. Or email me. I know it's a lot to try to remember. Email me at Felicia, and notice my name's and everything, Felicia.stepupyourlife stepupyourlife@gmail.com.
That's stepupyourlife@gmail.com.
Yes.
Felicia.stepupyourlife@gmail.com.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Miss Felicia. And again, just hold on 1 minute. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you all for listening today. This was a treat, as always, when you come on to Naya's project. We appreciate it. We didn't even get into STEM, but that's okay because Felicia covered so much of so many wonderful things. And she'll be back. So God bless you all for coming in again and listening to us, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Join Nikki Ruffin-Smith, the host of Naya's Project, on Global Voice Radio every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern.